Hello and welcome back to another production tip series. And this time, don't forget to like and subscribe and click that notification button. Today, I want to talk about real car gears, or trying to get as close as possible to real car gears, especially if you've really struggled to track that real car sound, whether it's video games or film or whatever. So without further ado, let's get into it. Ooh-wee. So we're over in Instagram, or on Instagram, at RTMA_studios. You follow, I follow. Let's link up and we can share production tips and basically chat and yeah, help each other, because that's the whole point. So today I've got my trusty um, Reason Studios 13, not 14, although 14's out and I should be upgrading soon. And in Reason Studios, I'm using the grain sample manipulator. That's the one I want to use today. And I've already kind of set some of it up. I don't want to give too much away just yet, but I've set it up. So I want to essentially make sound effects for a video. That's what the original intention for this was. And I saved the kind of I saved the layout because I think it'll be really useful in future for trying to do car noises, because I've always found it really difficult just using samples and trying to build all those layers to make a car sound like it's going up and down the gears, and consistency as well. So you can get lots of really good sound effects of cars driving and stuff like that, but it just wasn't cutting it for what I needed. And this was like a 2 to 3 minute video of two cars racing side by side with like a almost an over the shoulder look, so you could see the cars driving, and they're taking over each other and going back and forward. So a lot of movement, and trying to get the samples for that was crazy. And obviously I couldn't afford to do like some type of real Foley or whatever. So yeah, essentially I had to come up with an idea of how can I have as close to real or realistic car sound as I could, with all the control that I could have for gears, for making it sound like it's going faster, slightly slower, even if it's going up the gears and things. And what I come up with was this. So I'll preview the full sample of car driving engine, and you can hear it. And by the way, if you want to see it, it's up here. In fact, actually, what I'll do is I'll go to edit so you can see it. So I'll hit play. And there you go. So you can imagine that that sample will be really, really good if you were maybe creating to that already. So say animators, for example, or if you're filming something, they might make the cuts based on that. But then the cuts would be very, stuck to following what's happening in the sample. So the opposite of that was, of course, they're just going to make their films, their animations, and then we, as the producers, the sound guys, we're the ones that have to work around them, which is fine. So anyway, what I did was I found the sample that I liked. I really liked this. It had a lot of examples of going up and down the gears. You have a lot of stuff for in and out. So when it comes to the end of it, where I'm blending this into ignition, keys in, that kind of stuff. I've got all that I need in that one huge sample, and all I had to do was decide what part of that sample that I was going to try and loop. So I ultimately chose this region. You can see here in red, that region, and it comes up here. Now, a few things before I start. So I'm going to turn this down to 0. I'm going to turn this off. So whenever you start, I'll just go on C3. Works fine. So I've got that acceleration, as if you've just changed into a gear and now it's accelerating and you're about to kind of, it's long enough where you're about to change gear, and rightly enough, on past the sample it does change gear, but then he might slow down whenever, and I don't want that. So I've picked the section that gives me the most kind of time between gears. Obviously a car doesn't start like that, so we couldn't just start the scene like that. You'd have to, you know, the engine, the starting off, and everything's there at the start that we can and did in the project blend in. So what I've done here is at the end, he's just about to change gear, but it's not in there. So what I want to do is I want to turn up my loop X fade, and what this will do is it'll slightly go past, but it'll blend it'll basically crossfade it, but it'll blend the end and the start together, but not this end. It'll go past it a bit and blend it with the start. So what do you hear? So I'll go about maybe 70. 68 will do. Here we go. You hear that? So it's got this nice kind of drop sound as if you're changing gear. Again, in the final product, you might actually put like the gear changing noises, like all that nice Foley, and you can get those sounds to make it sound really crunchy and that kind of thing. And that's awesome, especially if it changes like the camera shot where you're inside the car and you see the gear changing. You want all those noises and you're outside it again. So essentially we've got everything we need there. We're not locked into, you know, hearing gear change noises, so we got a bit more control over it, and that's exactly what I would like. Okay, obviously the more you do that, it just sounds like exactly the same thing. Your brain's going, hey, there's no variation in that. If you seen one of my other videos about the whippy stick, about trying to alternate between samples, and they're slightly changed and slightly modified so that they actually sound different even though it's the same sample, we're kind of going to do something like that with this, but I'll show you how. Before we do that though, we got this thing called global position. So if I click it, or sorry, it just keeps going back to the start. But that's not what I want, because I want to change gear. It just sounds like you're going up and down the scale basically. So I don't want that. So if I turn this on, what will happen is when I change key, it'll continue on from where it was. So for example, can you hear? So because it's continuing on from where I was, if you're going up and down the gears, tonally, it's also going up or down. Like your brain's going, oh, hold on, maybe it was, and that like slight kind of dip in the sound effect because of the crossover, it gets your brain thinking like, oh, they are kind of changing gears, and it's starting to build that picture of a more real gear change. So for example, if I do it from, let's say we were on C3, let's go up 6 semitones, 1 2 3 4 5, or maybe too high, 5. So it's maybe even trying to listen to yourself and then try and catch where that gear changes before you change a key, and then maybe that'll help it sound a bit more authentic. And there you go. So that's sounding way more natural than just using one sample. And also another fun thing to do with this, so if I was to do that same kind of thing from the 5 semitones up from C3, I'm also going to use the pitch wheel. And if I try that, it'll help with the movement. So ultimately in the project, when we were going up and down the gears, these cars in the project I was working on were like taking over each other, slightly going forward, backwards, that kind of thing. You want all that movement in there. So what I ended up doing was I watched the video back at quite a number of times and then just live performed over it while recording everything, so that I could go back and then fine tune all the automation. So if you look down here, I wonder did I have it? Yep, so there you go. So I recorded them, and as they were live recorded, I was playing around with, I think that was the pitch bend, and yeah, backwards, forwards, going crazy, and then it'll sound a bit like this. I'll do it live for you. So So you can see there, changing the actual keys can actually be something not as good when you're using the pitch bend, but the pitch bend can be really good for just motion and movement. So you can always go back, fine tune those after you've live recorded. Go with the keys on their own or with a little bit of pitch bend. And every time it changed, I was just kind of bringing the pitch wheel down and holding it there, and then it would change gear again, and I would bring the pitch wheel down just slightly more. Same kind of idea, maybe a bit more fluid, and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a pretty good technique to try and build and use in if you're using Reason, do kind of the same thing. If you're using a different DAW, get a sampler and try and build this first, because for that kind of movement, it just makes it much much better. Imagine if you changed it with certain types of footsteps, things like that. You could also swap the sample out, and you have a template there ready for anything. That could be like a jet engine. It could be, not that they go up and down the gears, but even using the pitch bend with one sound. If you think about Tron, the original Tron, it's so old, because I am so old. In Tron, you had like the tank, and you can have a more digital sound. So maybe if we have, actually, let's try it just for the sake of it. So if we were to, let's get like a sound effect. I suppose you could do it with a synth or anything, but yeah, you could basically just get, for time I'll not do it. You basically just get any kind of sound effect, throw it in there, and do exactly the same thing, and it could sound like some alien machinery, some tank, a UFO, and do exactly the same thing. So that's why it's nice to have a template like that you can always go to. Not everybody needs cars and stuff like that, but it definitely is something that is extremely hard to do sound design for, when it's a constantly moving kind of like car that you have to watch for a while. And yeah, hopefully that helped in some way, shape, or form. I hope it gave you ideas for other things, maybe not necessarily cars, but using the grain table, using some of the simple functions, like what does the loop X fade do, the global positioning, forward loop, stuff like that. With even little things like this, like editing the sample where you can see it and you can actually do things to it within Reason, and that can help too. Anyway, thank you for watching, and without further ado, let's get out of it then. Bye.